The story begins with Xiao Xiao returning from shopping for dresses with her friend to attend Shuyang's birthday party, the boy she liked in high school. She decides to give him the camera she used in school since it had several videos of them together. However, at the party, she finds out Shuyang has a girlfriend and considers it inappropriate to give him the camera. Nonetheless, her friend tells her that the camera has already been placed with the other gifts, so Xiao tries to retrieve it. A classmate sees her and accuses her of being a thief. She quickly explains the misunderstanding and greets Shuyang, but her classmate snatches the gift away from her. She tries to take it back, but she falls and ends up traveling 10 years into the past. She appears in the school with the camera tape, which is taken by Shuyang, who asks if she called him to give it to him. Seeing that she is at school, she thinks it's a dream. So she takes the opportunity to kiss Shuyang on the cheek, leaving him astonished. This is seen by their teacher, who takes them to the office and scolds them severely. Still thinking it's a dream, Xiao Xiao jumps out the window to wake up, but ends up hurting her foot and realizes she truly traveled to the past. Shuyang comes to check on her and asks why she kissed him in the hallway. She replies that she has been under a lot of stress lately and did it without thinking, but also tells him that he can kiss her back if he wants, leaving him astonished again. Later, he accompanies her home, and Xiao Xiao can't stop thinking about how to return to the future. She remembers that before traveling to the past, she managed to grab the camera, so she quickly goes home to look for it, but suddenly finds herself back at school. Surprised, she tries to leave but ends up back in the classroom. This continues for 5 days, where she can't leave the school until she meets Shuyang. While talking to him, she manages to leave, and once he leaves, she decides to go home but ends up back at school. She realizes that she can only move from one place to another if Shuyang is with her. So, she decides to make him her boyfriend to keep him by her side. She confesses her feelings, but he rejects her. Since her plan doesn't work, Xiao Xiao decides to sit next to Shuyang by asking a classmate to switch seats with her. She ends up sitting next to Shuyang, but on the way out, the classmate who switched seats mocks her. Seeing this, Shuyang helps her carry her things and defends her. They leave together, and Shuyang asks why she is always by his side. She tells him the truth and confesses that she is from the future, and every time they separate, she appears in a new place. Unsurprisingly, Shuyang doesn't believe her and sets 3 rules for living together. 1. Not to move his things. 2. Not to get too close to him. And 3. Not to say strange things. Annoyed, she tells him not to interfere in her affairs either. Minutes later, the teacher asks Xiao Xiao to recite a poem, but since she doesn't remember it, she reads from Shuyang's book until he closes it. Upset, she scolds him for not helping her, and he reminds her that she asked him not to interfere. Angry, she sticks a paper on his back, but he notices and retaliates by cheating off her during an exam. The next day, Shuyang arrives late and with a dirty shirt. Xiao Xiao tries to clean it with a cloth, but he tells her not to touch him and goes to the bathroom. She starts to regret falling in love with him. However, in the bathroom, we see Shuyang has a large wound on his shoulder. On her way out, Xiao Xiao meets a man who introduces himself as Shuyang's father. However, when Shuyang sees him, he completely ignores him. Coming from the future, Xiao Xiao knows that Shuyang will soon have an accident in the cafeteria, so she warns him to be careful. He doesn't believe her, and she leaves angrily. The next day in the cafeteria, she decides not to help him but ends up throwing herself at him to save him at the last moment, leaving their faces too close. Shuyang stands up, and Xiao Xiao notices a wound on his neck. She starts to observe him more closely and notices that he also has arm and chest pain. She sees that Shuyang doesn't want to show his wounds to the nurse, so she gives him a cream for his bruises. She asks about his injuries, but when he doesn't tell her anything, she thinks he got into a fight. Still, she tells him that if someone is bullying him, he should tell her because she will defend him. In class, the teacher assigns the students to visit their desk mates' homes and record a video with their parents. Due to this, Xiao Xiao goes to Shuyang's house and meets his father, who seems very nice. On her way home, Xiao Xiao realizes she forgot her camera and returns to Shuyang's house, where his father gives her the camera. After saying goodbye, she notices that she left the camera on, and upon reviewing the footage, she discovers that Shuyang's father hits him. She quickly goes to find Shuyang, who is crying in a park. He tells her that his father has been hitting his mother for years, and although she wanted to leave, his father promised to change, so she stayed. However, things only got worse because when Shuyang defended his mother, his father started hitting him too. Now, he just wants to finish school so he can leave home with his mother. Hearing this, Xiao Xiao feels sorry for Shuyang and can't stop thinking about how to help him. Days later, there is a parents' meeting where Shuyang's father gives a speech bragging about raising his son with love, making him a model student. Hearing this, Shuyang feels resentment and pain, and Xiao Xiao holds his hand. This gesture gives Shuyang the strength to ask his mother to leave the house. Hurt by her son's suffering, she asks her husband for a divorce. That night, Shuyang thanks Xiao Xiao for her help and tells her that he will soon move to a small apartment as his mother will go to another city to work and earn more money. Learning this, Xiao Xiao, who lives alone with her grandmother, tells him they have a spare room in their house, and that's how Shuyang ends up moving in with her. One night, Xiao Xiao goes to get some water and sleepily returns to her room, but the next morning realizes she went into the wrong room. Embarrassed, she tells Shuyang that he should have locked the door and rushes out. The next day, the teacher hands out the exam results. Shuyang passes, but Xiao Xiao doesn't. Her father calls her and says that if she gets into the top 10, he will buy her tickets to her favorite band's concert. Because of this, Xiao Xiao asks Shuyang to tutor her, and he agrees. However, this makes Min Ran, a top student who is also in love with Shuyang, jealous. In class, the teacher asks Xiao Xiao to solve a problem, but she can't, and Min Ran mocks her after class. This angers Xiao Xiao, so she studies hard every night and eventually makes it to the 10th place, happily hugging Shuyang. In the end, her father sends her the 2 tickets she asked for, and she invites Shuyang to the concert. However, when they arrive, they realize the tickets were stolen on the bus. Sad, Xiao Xiao sits next to Shuyang, who plays her favorite band's music and shares his earphones with her to make her feel like she's at the concert, which moves her deeply. The next day, Xiao Xiao finds out that Shuyang has gone to an academy and realizes that even when he's not by her side, the scenario doesn't change. So, she goes looking for him. Meanwhile, Shuyang is looking at a group photo with Xiao Xiao. When he leaves, he runs into her, and she helps him carry his books. She asks if he did anything different that day, and he says no. She sees the photo and thinks he is looking at Min Ran because, in the future, she will be his girlfriend. However, Shuyang says he was looking at someone else, and Xiao Xiao gets excited, thinking he means her. She decides to put 2 of her photos in Shuyang's book. He lends his book to a classmate, who sees the photos and thinks they are a couple, starting to tease them. Xiao Xiao thinks Shuyang will be mad at her, so she tells him she won't cause him any more trouble and asks him to forget her confession, but to her surprise, this makes Shuyang sad. Min Ran informs Xiao Xiao that it's their turn to clean together. While they are cleaning, Xiao Xiao notices Min Ran stealing something. Afterward, Min Ran sends a group of bullies to warn Xiao Xiao not to reveal what she saw. Fearful of being beaten, Xiao Xiao tells them she is close to a boy named Shilin, recalling that he used to be very feared at school. Scared, the bullies believe she is Shilin's girlfriend and let her go. The next day, some boys inform Xiao Xiao that Shilin wants to talk to her and take her to a room where Shilin is waiting. He asks her to run his errands for a week in compensation for saying she was his girlfriend. Meanwhile, Shuyan overhears that some boys took Xiao Xiao and quickly goes looking for her. Xiao Xiao tells Shilin that she finds it amusing and will think about his request. Just then, Shuyan arrives, worried, and Shilin leaves. A few days later, Xiao Xiao and Shilin meet again in the principal's office because she had hit a classmate named Shu and now had to write an apology letter. However, Xiao Xiao refuses and explains that Shu often bullies another classmate named One. She had asked the teacher to reprimand Shu, but since the teacher did nothing, she took matters into her own hands. In the end, Shu promised not to bother One anymore. Hearing this, Shilin applauds Xiao Xiao, but the angry teacher orders them both to stand outside as punishment. There, Shilin asks Xiao Xiao why she helped One. She responds that she did it because she knew One would drop out of school due to Shu's bullying if she didn't stop it. Surprised, Shilin asks how she knows this, and she replies that she is from the future. Astonished, Shilin finds this amazing and asks to be friends with her, but also reminds her of the errands and asks her to buy him drinks. Shuyang overhears this and talks to the teacher to have Xiao Xiao's punishment lifted. Alone, Shuyang asks Xiao Xiao if Shilin is harassing her. She responds that he is not and tells him that she and Shilin have made a mutual agreement. Concerned, Shuyang asks a friend what it means when a girl obeys a boy with whom she has an equal agreement. The friend replies that it must be love. Shuyang does not believe Xiao Xiao likes Shilin, but starts to think otherwise when she tells him that Shilin came to see her and they will meet. Outside, Shilin asks Xiao Xiao to bring him food at school. She tells him he only needed to call to inform her. He responds that he only came because he was nearby. Before leaving, he gives her a yogurt, which makes her happy because it's her favorite. The next day, Xiao Xiao delivers the food Shilin requested, and Shuyang becomes jealous seeing their closeness. After class, Shilin tells Xiao Xiao that he likes a girl but has no experience in dating and needs her help. He tells her she won't have to run any more errands if she agrees to go on a date with him. Xiao Xiao finally agrees, thinking it's a good deal, and they plan to meet on the weekend. Xiao Xiao starts looking for an outfit for the date and tells Shuyang about it, making him jealous. The day of the date arrives, and Shuyang decides to look for Xiao Xiao. On his way, he meets Min Ran, who asks him to accompany her to buy some books. Min Ran sees Xiao Xiao and Shilin and tells Shuyang that Xiao Xiao claimed to be Shilin's girlfriend, making Shuyang jealous. Seconds later, Xiao Xiao sees them and asks what they are doing there. Min Ran responds that they came for books and asks if she wants to join them, but Shuyang coldly replies that it's unnecessary and leaves. At home, Xiao Xiao finds Shuyang in the living room and realizes he was waiting for her, which touches her. The next day, Shuyang leaves for school early but leaves breakfast for Xiao Xiao. When she sees the date, she remembers it's Shuyang's birthday. After school, she rushes out of the classroom with Shilin, making Shuyang think they have another date, which makes him sad. Hours later, he arrives home and receives a call from his mother, who wishes him a happy birthday. Minutes later, he gets another call, this time from Xiao Xiao, asking him to open the door. He is pleasantly surprised to see Xiao Xiao with a cake singing "Happy Birthday," which warms his heart. Xiao Xiao gives him a gift, and Shuyang thanks her. Alone in his room, he can't stop smiling, feeling happy. The next day, Xiao Xiao realizes her diary is missing and stays home a bit longer to look for it. At school, Shuyang finds some boys reading Xiao Xiao's diary and mocking her for writing about time travel. Angry, he takes the diary from them and scolds them. However, a boy named Ju mocks her when he sees her arrive, prompting Shilin to beat him up. Shuyang returns the diary to Xiao Xiao, who is then called to the principal's office. The teacher asks if she is dating Shilin because Ju said Shilin hit him for defending Xiao Xiao. Shilin tells the teacher he likes another girl and hit Ju for no reason. After school, Shilin asks Xiao Xiao if she likes Shuyang, to which she replies yes, breaking Shilin's heart. Nevertheless, he wishes her well and leaves sadly. Minutes later, Shuyang arrives and tells Xiao Xiao that initially, he didn't believe her story about time travel, but now wants to believe everything for her. On their way home, he asks if she wants to return to her time. Though she wishes to stay, she remains silent, which Shuyang interprets as a yes and promises to help her return. The next day, Shuyang tells Xiao Xiao they should go to the last place she was before traveling through time. When they arrive, they find that the place hasn't been built yet. Shuyang asks what she ate or drank before traveling, and she responds that it was a cocktail, so they go to buy it. Back home, she drinks the cocktail, but nothing happens. She searches online and finds comments suggesting that kisses can cause time travel. Though she initially doesn't believe it, she kisses the sleeping Shuyang on the cheek, but nothing happens. Minutes later, she also falls asleep. When Shuyang wakes up, he carries her to bed and covers her with a blanket. There, he remembers that before Xiao Xiao kissed him at school, he took the ribbon she had in her hand. He finds the ribbon and is about to put it in the camera but stops, fearing Xiao Xiao will leave. The next day, he tells Xiao Xiao about the ribbon and gives it to her, but she doesn't use it, saying she wants to stay. They go out together, but Xiao Xiao suddenly gets a nosebleed and fever, worrying Shuyang. He takes her home and takes care of her. The next day, there is a show in class, and Xiao Xiao participates, something she didn't do in the past. Despite having a good time, she faints, worrying Shuyang, who takes her to the infirmary. Xiao Xiao wakes up and tells him not to worry, but her health continues to deteriorate. The following day, her nose bleeds again, and Shuyang realizes it's because she doesn't belong in this time. Not wanting her to suffer anymore, he puts the ribbon in the camera and, with it on, promises to find her in the future and confess his feelings again. After saying this, Xiao Xiao travels back in time, waking up the day before the party. She thinks it was all a dream until she notices similarities with the previous party and looks for Shuyang, but no one knows him. Sad, she goes to cry on a beach, where she surprisingly finds Shuyang. He reminds her that when she kissed him, he told her he could return the kiss. Happily, he kisses her, showing how much he missed her, ending this story.